All right, let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Out of the Park Developments Twitch stream. My name is Alex Murray, also known as AZ Axel to the community. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. This is going to be an interesting stream, as 2 days ago, I was contacted by TJ to alert me that he was not going to be available to do our usual stream. Let me go ahead and throw myself up here up on the screen for you guys to be able to see me. So TJ is unfortunately not available today to be able to do our usually scheduled Tuesday stream. If you want to know, he's having a he is out on personal time off right now. He lost a family member, so we are sending him all the good vibes in the world we can right now, as he probably is traveling with his family to go be with family about all of that. So unfortunately, sad days ahead for him, but you know what? We'll be here for him when he comes back, and we wish you all of the love and care that we can give you, TJ. So hang in there, man. We'll be here for you. So yeah, good vibes. Basically, good vibes over to TJ. So unfortunately, that means it's up to me to man the stream for today. So I have not streamed in a very long time, and this is going to be an interesting little attempt. I know TJ, if he's watching, is probably cringing as hard as he possibly can, because I haven't done any streams in a long time, and I'm probably going to be very, very rusty. But because I don't really want to do a whole bunch of simulations and work through stuff without TJ being here, since this is majorly his team, what we're going to do for this evening, and for all of you guys to be able to watch, is a little bit of minor league management. If you guys wanted to be able to kind of get an idea of how to better prepare your minor leagues, and then also what you should be doing during the course of the regular season for your minor leagues, this is going to be the stream for you. So if you've ever had questions about how do I manage my minors, how do I go about, making sure that they're good to go. I think I just peeked for a second there. Hold on. No, that's not you. Let's see. I don't want to peek on my audio. There we go. That's a bit better. Unless your team does bad, then it's your team, Alex. Good grief. But if you guys ever had questions or wanted to be able to learn a little bit about how to manage your minors, I wouldn't say properly, because there's never ever a one fixed solution for all of you guys to be able to get your minors managed. But if you wanted to learn a little bit about how I do it, that is what we're going to do today. So, let's get started, shall we? Let's jump right into it. So, this is our Arizona Diamondbacks organization. We've been doing pretty good for the regular season, even though our reputation is poor, and we are out of money, completely out of money at this point. Can we juice them? I wish it was that simple. Back in the 90s, yes, that was the answer. Off and on, that was the answer, at least. Unfortunately, we can't quite do that here. In fact, baseball's gone so far as to unjuice the balls, so it's even going in the opposite direction at this point. But we're going to learn a little bit today about kind of what, at least, or not even learning, but, oh, the audio keeps breaking up? That's not good. Hold on a second. Now I gotta make sure that something isn't breaking on my end. It's fine on your end? Okay, maybe it's just the quality of the stream. Okay, as long as it sounds fine for most people, I'm not gonna think it's an audio problem. I'm out of practice, I'm just stuttering, that's all, guys. Oh, good grief. If you're having problems with the stream, try refreshing. Excuse me. I was hoping that we were gonna have quality options for the stream, but if we don't, that could be a problem. But, yeah, if it's having some choppiness, if you have low latency turned on for the stream, I would recommend turning that off. That has a tendency to cause some audio issues by itself. So if you're having audio issues, turn off the low latency. If you're on mobile, I don't know what I can say about that, because unfortunately that's just Twitch. That's just Twitch. And if it's just a minor issue, the recording will save to both Twitch and YouTube, so you can always watch it later if you want to have the audio the way it's supposed to be, I guess. Dishnet already knows that, guys. You don't have to remind him. No worries, no worries. All right, so yes, So we're going to review kind of where the team is at this point. So we'll give you guys a chance to be able to ask a bunch of questions about our organization and also about OOTP. So if you do have questions about the game or our particular save in this situation, please do let me know. I have Twitch chat up over on my left, and I've got the game here right in front of me, and we'll be able to answer all you guys' questions, or at least try to, as well as show you guys what's been going on. My friend spent 110,000 perfect points on a reliever. I mean, it depends on which reliever he got. Did he get the, there was a really good reliever that just came out. Depends on the reliever he got. 110 is actually about right for the elite relievers in Perfect Team. That definitely sounds about right. Yeah, if it's Kirby Yates, yes, perfect. Thank you guys. Yeah, if it's Yates, that sounds about right. If it's a really high end reliever like that, you can spend some high quality perfect points to get some really elite pitching relievers at this point. All right. I'll watch out for more questions as you guys bring them into chat. As long as it wasn't Araldus. Oh gosh. How many people here have the actual live Araldus diamond? Like on all of their accounts. Like that's like one of the first diamonds that I always seem to grab is Araldus Chapman. Like that's all I get. That's like always the number one, the first diamond, if not the first diamond, card, then it's the first diamond pitcher I get. It always seems to be Araldus Chapman. So I have no idea. I think I've gotten the dupe too, Tiberius. I'm pretty sure I've had one account that's gotten 2 of them. And let's just say that's not fun when it's like, oh, look at the diamond, and it's this guy again. Oy. So, anywho, you have the Nathan. Oh, wow, you picked up the Nathan 98? Oh, dude, that's a good card. That is a good card. Oh, that's him and Nick Anderson, both of them. Both Chapman and Nick Anderson. Gosh. They're always going to get pulled. They always get pulled. I don't know why, but they always do. Should I keep Anderson as a closer? The problem with Anderson, from what I remember, is that he's not only a fly ball pitcher, but he's a low movement pitcher, which means if you're up against people who have high power, they're going to hit home runs and doubles all over Anderson. So, in all honesty, I would not keep Anderson as a relief pitcher, as a closer, if you want him to be able to come in tight situations and not give up a solo home run. Now, you could definitely use him as a middle reliever, I believe. I think that's his best option, is to use him for that. It just depends on, I can't recall off the top of my head what his exact perfect team ratings were. We'll look him up here in our game, so you guys can see what he looks like right here. But this is Nick Anderson in our game, and in our world. Extreme fly ball and 35 of 35 movement for our head scout. OSA believes he's a little bit better. But basically, Nick Anderson is probably a 2 or 3 result pitcher. It's either going to be a fly out to like deep center, it's going to be a strikeout, or it's going to be a home run. That's pretty much his whole entire approach. 6 of his 23 hits allowed have been home runs. Now, he won't walk a lot of people. Oh, you're right. It hasn't actually updated the screen. Hold on. What's going on here? And this is where the rusty stuff comes through. Hold on. I make one change. There we go. That's what it's supposed to look like right there. Thank you, game, for deciding to finally show up on the screen. But this is what we see for Nick Anderson in our franchise. So I don't remember if this is exactly what he looks like in Perfect Team. But as you can see, extreme fly ball, very low movement. Not a great pitcher if you want to, and his 6.75 ERA is a prime example of, kind of where that comes from. But you really don't. In fact, why have they... Oh, they've been using him as an opener. Really? I just saw that he has 2 starts under his belt, and I was like, wait a minute. Nick Anderson is not a starter. He is not a starter. But if they've been using their opener situation, Nick Anderson has gotten some starts. Interesting. That is very interesting. I can't say that I agree with that, but they have tried. The Rays have tried a whole bunch of people in a starter opener to follower situation here at this point. So not so much, not so good there for the Rays, unfortunately. I don't think that's going so well. But anywho, so to answer your question about whether or not you should be keeping Nick Anderson, I think Nick Anderson is great at low levels. He'll give up a few home runs, but it won't be too bad. Once you get into higher competition where every single batter is going to be a challenge, that just gives Nick Anderson more and more opportunities to give up back-to-back really big hits. And if you're trying to make him save games, that's just not going to fly. Well, if something's going to fly, it's going to be the ball all over the field. So it's not good for you. So I would pick up somebody else to be a closer if you have other options other than Nick Anderson. All right, so let's go ahead and review our Diamondbacks. If it's going to update the screen. No, it's not. Okay, hold on. Do I have to do a screen capture instead, game? Do I really have to do screen capture? All right, I'll do screen capture instead. Hold on one second, guys. Of course, what I thought would work just fine is not going to work just fine. All right. Hide that. Yeah, usually window capture is perfectly fine for me, but in this situation, it is not. So, yeah, it's like it notices that it's just not updating. Okay, hold on. Hold on one second. We'll switch this over. There we go. That should be the corrected version. That'll at least allow us to work with it at this point. Oh, I'll have to double check that window capture. I had to put the game in full screen mode, which I do not normally like to have OOTP in full screen mode. I find that to be a little bit rough on my computer to an extent. Yeah, we've got some cold outfielders, unfortunately. Yep. An all-fly ball pitchers theme team? Oh, gosh. You'd have to have some elite outfielders to make that work, but you could do that. If you had high movement, extreme fly ball pitchers, and really good outfielders, as long as you play into that factor that they're going to hit a lot of fly balls to the outfield, then you're fine. Yeah, you could totally do that. That is absolutely doable in all regards. Make it work. Oh, good grief. No movement, all fly balls. Well, if you have no movement, the problem is those fly balls turn into home runs. So, you know, you can have an extreme fly ball pitcher, but as long as they have high enough movement, it will neutralize a whole lot of the disadvantages they get from having that, you know, that high fly ball ability. Now, most of the time, high fly balls pitchers are not going to have good movement either. It's very rare. It's very rare to find somebody who has extreme fly ball and high movement. That's not normally what you're going to find, unless you're. Oh, who was it? There was one example. There was one person I remember seeing a long time ago, an actual legit player, that actually did have that. Let me go ahead and see if I can find an example of this really fast. We're going to totally sidetrack today, guys, because unfortunately, that's just how I am. I love to sidetrack, and I like to look stuff up and answer questions. So unfortunately, TJ's probably over there going, why is he not actually playing the game? This is not good. If it's at least fly ball. Yeah, Hendricks. So Hendricks is a prime example of somebody who can still have a lot of fly balls, but still be able to have good enough movement where it negates a lot of the home runs and even some of the doubles that would routinely be given up. So yeah, Liam Hendricks here is a prime example of somebody who is actually quite good. as a pitcher. And I don't know if, I mean, it's a bit lower on our scout believes he's a little bit worse, but I would be prone to believe more of the OSA ratings in all honesty. But this is a prime example right here of someone who's actually quite good. Minter. Oh, is it actually flashing? Hold on, guys. Is the screen like flashing on your guys' end? Let me know if it is, because if it is, I might have to change that back to. I'll just go like window mode at that point. And we'll be fine with it. But Minter is another option where somebody can have a extreme or fly ball pitcher situation, and you know, it's not a bad thing for him as a pitcher. He can manage it well. He won't give up a lot of home runs because the movement is high enough to negate any kind of you know, home run situation he might be having. Oh, it is weird. Nope. All right. As long as it's not too bad, I'll struggle through with it. It's just that it might be the I wonder if it's the stuff I've got set up in the background. Hold on one second. I think I can fix this. I think all I have to do is turn that off. I think that'll help it. Yeah, I think the problem was that it had something in the background that was similar to the same screen I was looking at. Make sure that that doesn't happen again before we keep going. Nope, it still is. That is weird. All right, well, you know what then? We are going to do some on-screen editing because that is what I love doing. We're going to go back to window mode because that's just not going to work. All right, so hold on one second, guys. Let me make sure I can do this correctly before we run into problems. Because, of course, it's going to be that way. The game is just not happy with me today. I've been doing some stuff, fixing some stuff, and the game is just like, no, we really don't like you right now. There we go. Early tech support? Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much tech support. Okay, now the question is, do I want to do that, or do I want to do that? I think the answer is going to be this. We'll do that, and we'll just call it good. That should get rid of any of the little split-second, like, staticky stuff that was coming through. There we go. So we'll just do that, and that'll be just fine. All right. So let's give ourselves a chance to be able to review how the team has done. And as you guys can see, our August has been terrible, to say the least. So to review our D-backs franchise and where we started and where we are right now. We started out very, very good. We had a great April at 13-13. That was even after a really rough start. It's a pretty rough start considering we had to play a bunch of games against the Dodgers and Padres, I believe. And the Giants, too. We had a fantastic May, which involved us doing a whole bunch of games against lower-base teams, which I believe also includes some of the American League West teams, and we did a good job against them. And then we ran into June. And we didn't do so well in June, a .370 winning percentage, 10-17. We kind of stumbled out of the gate in June and kind of fell apart. Bounced completely back in July, right before the first-year player draft. We were on a really good streak right around that time. Had some really good performances from our offense. The pitching was starting to come back. And now we've hit August. And you guys can see that our August is currently 4-13. We are not winning very many games in August. And it's bad. It is bad. It's not going well. So we definitely have some stuff to look at, some stuff to review, and some stuff to figure out. In regards to kind of just piecing together where the team is at right now and where we want to go with it going forward. All right, questions in the chat. Oh, boy. Am I wearing sunglasses? These are actually transition glasses, technically. So they are technically sunglasses. What's it like going to a D-backs game? I've been to many D-backs game. Unfortunately, I am not a huge fan of Chase Field, also known as Bank One Ballpark, or the Bob, as we like to call it here in Phoenix. We've always called it the Bob. It will always be the Bob to us. But it's basically a big giant airplane hangar. Big giant airplane. Metal cement airplane hangar. With noise that goes everywhere and bounces off the walls and off the floors and even the ceiling. It's a bit of a cacophony. It's a bit of a cacophony, like giant metal box is kind of what it feels like. They've done a great job of sprucing it up and making it feel as comforting as possible, but it is still a metal and cement box. That's basically what it is. But it is nice when you can step into a giant. It is nice when you can step into a giant building and it's 75 degrees compared to 105, 115 outside. So they do a great job. Yeah, cacophonous. Yeah, it means the noise bounces all over the place. It is nice. Yeah, it's nice when they can open up the roof. It's nice when they can be able to, when it's nice enough to, let the breeze come in, and it's actually really beautiful when that happens. When it's just cool enough outside that you can open up the roof, let the breeze in, the ball flies farther because the breeze goes right out towards center field, and it's a really, really comfortable environment because they can still have the AC on while they do that, and they can still get you at a really nice temperature, and it's actually quite fun. That is actually the best. That has always been my best favorite moments of going to a D-backs game, is being able to know that it's 115 degrees outside, or it's like 100 degrees outside, and yeah, especially night games. Night games are quite nice too. But just knowing that it's, comfortable. It's comfortable to watch a baseball game in the middle of the desert, and they can do that. So that's always really cool. All right. Any other questions? Oh, someone had asked a question about the game engine. How does the game engine determine who fields the ball in the gap? So normally, what happens with that is the game has already decided where the ball lands, depending upon a chart system of where the ball gets hit to. So there is, in official baseball terms, there's an actual chart of where balls are hit to and what that little box chart, what it's numbered as. And normally I think it's, there's actually, well, hold on. I bet you I can find out. There is an actual chart. Let me see if I can figure out what the coordinates are again now. If I've got ball locations. There they are. So this is what the game refers to as a ball location. These are actual locations that are actually legitimately used in game. In real life. This is how real life people know where a ball was hit to. So this is the kind of stuff that Billy Beane used to know who hits balls into the gaps, who hits balls to certain parts of the field. Is it a line drive? Is it a fly ball? Is that something that we want? So this is the kind of really sabermetric stuff that you're looking for. So the game engine itself has a ball hit to a certain location. And if a fielder can, it'll then calculate the fielder's range to be able to see if they can make a play on it. And then, the air gets involved and a bunch of other stuff. So basically, it takes the location of the ball, the fielder's on the field, and it rolls a die to see if the player makes the play. And if they can't, then the runner gets, so many bases depending upon his speed and the expected result of where the ball is hit. So, see, the rest of the question was, does it calculate the location of the ball and then see which player would have been? Yes, so yeah, it does the location of the ball. Yep. Based on the location of the ball and the relative range of the options. Yes, so that's perfect. Sorry, I answered that question exactly the way you wanted it to be answered. But most of the time, before the animation begins, I know there's a forum post on the Steam section of OOTP 21. The game engine already has the results before the 3D replay is done. So the replay is not the results being, happened live. Those are just simply a display of the result already calculated by the engine. So let's see. Any other questions? Yep, Bob Brenly. Back in 2001, Bob played at the Bob. That was always fun. We like Bob Brenly. We still have him as our color commentator, I believe. Yeah, believe we still have Bob Brenly in the color commentation booth at this point. He does a great job. He does a fantastic job at doing that. I remember when him and Tom Brenneman were the broadcasters for the D-backs when they were on Channel 3 here locally. You could watch every single baseball game for the D-backs locally, back before we had all this cable stuff, all this cable nonsense and blackouts and everything else. That was perfect. That was the best way to get the city of Phoenix involved with the D-backs, was allowing people to just actually watch the games. I remember watching so many games, D-backs games, and you even were able to watch the Diamondbacks shows on Sunday. That was always fun. But we're getting off track. We're getting off track, guys. I love getting off track, but you guys are doing a great job of keeping me way off track. So, as you can see from our win division graph here, we are not having a very, very good August, which has resulted in us officially being 4th place, almost 5th place at this point. So, rather than spending a whole lot of time worrying about the majors, so to answer your question, Cardinals fans, there are not going to be any robberies tonight. There are no trades. What we're going to do is take a deep dive into our minor league system and try to teach you guys how to be able to kind of get a better read on your minor league teams and your players involved with that. Coffee or tea? Neither. I am not a coffee or tea person. Soda. Soda is what I want. I'll take soda. Soda or water is what I'll usually go for over a coffee or a tea. Like, there's only a couple different types of coffees that I can actually stomach before it's just disgusting. Just coffee, it's by itself is really bad, really bad. Is there something wrong with the 3rd, 4th place placement rewards on tourneys? If you haven't been getting your PAX Caprine Assassin, send a Discord message over to Nicolino. He'll be the one to make sure that those get handed out. And Riley is correct. Normally, those have to wait until the entire tournament is done. If the entire tournament's not finished yet, it won't hand out rewards until everything is wrapped up. So if it hasn't been finished yet, you should get those soon. If you haven't gotten those and it is finished, send a quick little DM over to Nicolino, and he'll be able to help you out with that. Corbin Carroll, Alec Thomas, or Christian Robinson? My money is actually on Alec Thomas. I know a lot of people are big on Corbin Carroll, but I think Alec Thomas is primed for breaking out and actually really being the best prospect that the D-backs have. I know a lot of people are big on Carroll because he has so much raw potential. But, that's what they also said about a bunch of other people the D-backs have had over the last couple of years. Oh, gosh, I can't even remember some of their names now. Who are some of the people that we had really high prospects for? I mean, not like Stephen Drew type people, but more modern people. I know we've had a few people. I mean, Tomas was one of them. I know Seth Beer is considered someone that we thought was a pretty good prospect, but I'm all in on Alec Thomas. I'm all in on Alec Thomas. I think he's one of the best. Is Seth Beer decent? I think he's borderline MLB quality. I think he's right in between what I would call a quad A player and an MLB player, which is harder to just make another whole entire category between those two, because that's literally what quad A means. I think he's borderline the definition of a quad A player. Alec Thomas has already been in a game this year, actually. He's already been playing. He's already gone pretty good. He's in Double-A this year, which is great for him. I've been very happy. I actually have been watching. It's a Penta player, Penta-A player. Oh, you meant in PT. Oh, well, he does he have a, he still has a, no, wait, does he? I don't think he does this year, does he? Does he have a prospect card? this year for PT? I know I've been using, I'm always using Carroll's card, because I know that Corbin Carroll has some of the best defense you can get for outfielders in the Prospects series, or that group of cards for PT. But you're right, I don't think I've seen an Alec Thomas card this year, so I don't think he's in this year. Yeah, he doesn't have a Future Legends card this year. He had one last year. I know he did have one last year. Alec Thomas is probably still, in my opinion, I think the problem is that he's a hard prospect really to nail down right now, and I'll show you guys why. Let's go ahead and take a look at him real fast. So, Alec Thomas, if we're not on OSA's ratings, Alec Thomas kind of looks like this. Now, a lot of, yeah, because the 21, the Pete's 21 Alec Thomas card is great. Absolutely phenomenally great. Definitely one of the most, well, not one of the most, but definitely an underrated Future Legends card in 21. So this is Alec Thomas. And we have high hopes for Thomas. So in our franchise, here on the D-backs stream, Thomas was batting .409 in single A plus, or high A as it's called. That's is that Hillsdale? I don't remember if that's technically Hillsdale or not. But basically, he has been doing a phenomenal job in our high A ball club, batting 409, 506, 772. He had a 205 OPS plus and a 4.2 WAR season so far, and that was only in 47 games. So Thomas was definitely ready to come up to Double-A at the very least. Now, his Double-A performance has not quite been the same, which is to be expected considering exactly how much development Thomas still has. He's got a lot of contact left to be able to develop, and the best part is that he has pretty much gotten most, if not all, of his avoid Ks have been developed for our organization. So at this point, it's literally just BABIP that he's developing, because we can understand that BABIP and avoid Ks results in contact. So all of this additional 20 points on contact, that's all BABIP development most likely. There might be a little bit of avoid Ks left, but most of that, if not all of that, is BABIP, which means 271 in Double-A is going to go up as he gets more and more development. What is his estimated time of arrival? That's a great question. Thomas currently is rated, if I can find our version of him, he is estimated to come to the majors this year. Now, that is not going to happen. In real life, Thomas is expected in 22, 23, I believe. Depends on how quickly the D-backs want to push him. I don't think that he's ready for the majors this year, and I would be hesitant to have him ready for the majors next year, unless he shows extremely good development this year for the D-backs. I think he's much more likely to be a 2023 prospect, which is good because they really don't have an outfield slot for Thomas to take. If they have Cole Calhoun beyond this season, and David Peralta out in left, and LeCastro is manning corners in center field at this point in real life. Not to mention the fact that they still have they of course have Seth Beer trying to come up and play. They've got Corbin Carroll trying to come up and play as well. And they have Christian Robinson. So there are quite a few different people the D-backs have that are developing through their minor league systems in real life that are very, very good. So that's Thomas. I'm glad we got that out of the way right off the bat. Thomas is what I would consider to be our number one prospect. I think he's our biggest guy at this point. I know some people might think that, we just drafted Watson. He's pretty good too. I have high hopes for Watson. I know we have some high hopes for people like Corbin Carroll. We have a couple of pitchers. Jarvis is one of them. He's supposed to be pretty good as well. We have, hopefully, Perdomo and Langoliers get better, too. I'm hoping that we can use them in some key situations down the road as well. That would actually be really cool. But I'm still extremely hyped about Thomas. I think his high A performance this year exemplifies exactly what I want to see out of him when he reaches the majors. Not the exact same numbers, but similar style of hitting where it's just you smack the ball all over the field. He's not exactly a stealer when it comes to the base paths, but his base running is amazing, so he won't make you have outs on the field. And he'll play center field quite nicely. He could probably go play left. He can probably go play left really, really well, and he'll do a great job. He'll do a great job in the majors when he gets there. I have high hopes for Thomas. All right. So let's go ahead and do some discussions about the minors and kind of how I go about managing stuff. So because TJ's not here, and I know I've said it before, and we'll say it again, because TJ is not here, we're going to be taking a long, hard look at our minor league system and kind of getting a good read on where we're at with our minor league setup. And I just realized that I'm pretty sure, yeah, Watson's out for a week with a strained oblique. That's not good. That's not good at all. Oh well. We will wait for Watson to come back. He is a top-tier prospect up there with Waddell. Oh, man, a fractured finger. Oh, no. Oh, good grief. Okay, well, there's two of our more impressive prospects are out for a little bit of time. Mercer's gone of Tommy John surgery. That's not good. Good grief. Look at all these injuries. Good grief. Yeah, it's been a rough season for us, guys. It has been a very rough season for us. Yogurt or ice cream? Gelato. When creating new players in OOTP, would there be any difference between editing an existing player's ratings versus creating a new player from scratch? Technically, no. If you change someone already created and you edit everything about them, the entire player changes. There might be some history about the player that remains, but you know, you can take a certain player, like we could take someone like a Moises Alcala here, or Alcala, and if we made changes to him, the only thing that would remain that would be, you know, from his previous version would be his history. And that's basically it. Anything that says when he got signed, his statistics. But if you change everything about the player, you know, his name, you know, his ratings, everything, if you change all that kind of stuff, then there's no difference between, you know, doing that or creating a player from scratch outside of anything they've done in the past remaining, because it stays on their player ID, which you can technically clear if you go into your game settings, but that clears everybody, not just this one player. So you probably don't want to do that. Injuries on high. Actually, I don't think our injuries are on high. I think our injuries are on normal. They are. So our injuries are on normal at this point. And we've gotten hit with a lot of injury bugs on our major league team, which is not so good. That is true, Doctor. And if you clone the player, you can actually remove all of that history and then still have the player's original information. So, yes. Yes, you can. Is TJ here? No, he is not. TJ is out right now on on family matters, unfortunately. Yeah. Good vibes being sent to TJ for the past couple of days at this point. So we have him in our thoughts right now. As I'm nearly done putting in PT cards into the regular game. Oh, sweet. So you're actually doing the conversion of cards from PT into your actual single player game. Sweet. That's a good way to be able to test stuff out. If you have the time and energy to be able to do that, that is a good way to be able to test stuff out. Oh, I wish it was a secret scouting mission, unfortunately, Pockets, but it is unfortunately not that. It is not that, unfortunately. He is getting some time off. So, yeah. All right. back to what we were trying to do and have been trying to do for 45 minutes now. You guys are really good at making me monologue about random stuff. Just don't ask me about the Rockies. Do not bring up that whole entire basket of fruits that I have to go through. All right, so if you guys have ever been playing a game, a single-player game, you're managing your own team, and you find out that you kind of need to take more control over your minor league rosters and what you're developing, where you're developing them, and kind of just what you want to do with all of your minor league prospects and how you want to handle them all. This is going to be an attempt at kind of just explaining what I go through and what I try to do to be able to figure out where people are best suited, which when people are good to get called up, and where they are best to be placed in your minor league systems. Now, a lot of people are just going to throw the best rated people up at the highest levels, and that's kind of what we're going to do to an extent, but we're going to take a more meticulous route, and we're going to do some different settings that you guys may not have ever used before. So we'll find out if you guys have ever done this before in your lives, or if you guys know about this little tool you guys can utilize to be able to help you better understand your minors. Because let's just throw this out there just to begin with. If you look at somebody like Corbin Carroll, and you are looking at him, and this is just his raw information, we know that he's got really good speed and good stealing, which is why he's had 4 stolen bases, 6 stolen bases over the course of the regular season, and that's only for 29 games, so that's decent in terms of his stealing ability. 3 home runs, 3 triples, 14 RBI, 14 doubles, not just projected, never mind, but 3 triples, 9 doubles, and 35 hits, with 315, 293 batting average, which means he's got a 1.1 WAR for the season, but that means nothing, because that's only in the rookie system and in high A ball, and he is still in high A. So how do you take information like this and know exactly where he is supposed to be in your minor league levels? And it's even harder for us because we don't have his current ability. We only know what his potential could be. Well, let's review something, shall we? What we're going to be talking about today is utilizing this tool called the ratings relative to. We're going to be doing a lot of this, a lot of changes to this little setting, because basically it is automatically set, and you can actually turn it off or on depending upon how you want to do this. But by default, this is set up to be relative to the major leagues. Now, the problem is a lot of these minor league players outside of, the top elite prospects you've got. So let's just take someone a little bit less qualified, like a Christian Lopez. Now, Christian Lopez, by MLB standards, is actually fully developed, which is great. Which means that if we brought him up to the majors, this is how good he would be right now, which would be a good thing for us. But if we wanted to see just how good he is really doing, because right now he's in high A with 10 home runs, 13 doubles, he's batting .356 with a 2.8 WAR season so far. So he's doing much better than what the ratings would look like. Well, that's because he's playing in high A. He's currently playing in high A West, and if we go and we change this setting to high A West, this is what his actual ratings in a high A West environment looks like. This is where you get 49 walks to 40 strikeouts and a .511 on base percentage. So this is where we start to see some stuff that's going to tell us that maybe Christian Lopez, or Lopes, I think it's Lopez, maybe he should be playing in a higher quality minor league system, because he's pretty much too good for high A. And if we go back to our ratings, we're going to completely disregard the majors. We're going to disregard AAA, because as you can see, everybody in AAA is too good. Unless you're Trace Thompson, and maybe you should get knocked down to AA. Just saying. But as you can see, there's a lot of people who are just way too good if they were looked at from a high A relative rating. And the same thing goes for AA. A lot of people really, really good. Now, for our high A system, you can see that the players are actually pretty average. So this is where the relativeness is a great way, to be able to see just how good your players are in terms of them potentially being good, and also to see how good they are currently. So as you can see, if we're looking at high A level players, this is about what you should be expecting to see. A couple people who are elite, some pretty good 4-star caliber players, a couple of 3.5s, a bunch of 3s, some 2.5s, and some 2s. And then we have Pat Venditti, or Venditte, down here at the 1.5, unfortunately. And that's because he's just switchy, and we wanted to see if we could actually get that to work. But we can only have him as a right-handed pitcher, so, that's just what happens. But this is a great tool for you guys to be able to see just how good your minor league players are versus just throwing everybody against the major league level, because then you get a whole bunch of these people who are half a star. And Max McGwire definitely is about a half a star. Depending upon, how good he performs and develops, that's about right. But when we start to change stuff, and we start to see that, okay, maybe he would only be a AAA player for his career. And that's not that great for a AAA player. He needs more development to begin with. Max needs a lot more development. But even at, let's just say, high A West, he would be a decent starter at high A West. Now, he's not ready for high A West. He still has a lot of development left to do. So this is a good situation where he's definitely going to be staying in the rookie ball system for now. We just drafted him. But you can start to kind of get an understanding of where to expect a player to land. Because you don't want to draft somebody with the hope that they make it to the majors, and then they only ever reach AA, and then they peter out. And there are some people who will do that because of how well they develop. But there are also some people who are undervalued because you're looking at them with the wrong ratings relative to setup. So, for example, Jorge Barosa is actually a really good example for this one right here. By the major standpoints, he's pretty decent. He's going to have some pretty good contact, eye discipline, avoid K potential as he gets older. He's got some very good speed to go along with that. And he should play the outfield quite nicely. But basically, what we want to know is, where do we see Jorge Barosa really starting to plateau at? Where do we feel like, okay, he's only going to hit this good, and then he's going to not make it any further without development on top of what he already has? And this tool is a great way to be able to know which of your players in your minor league system are absolutely just never going to make it. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have too many minor league players. That's going to be your first problem that you're going to encounter. Your rookie system, and in our situation, it's the Arizona Diamondbacks, it's the AZL League. We have 59 players, and we have been releasing people all season to make this number look better and better. Because 59 players is almost 2 teams worth. In fact, it pretty much is 2 teams worth of players. So you don't need this many people. But how do you decide in a system as low-end as AZL, how do you decide out of all of these really poor-looking players, who are you going to get rid of to make up space? Especially when you go into a player draft. How do you decide who to release and who to hang on to be able to make the best judgment call for your players? And that is a perfect place for you to be able to use the ratings relative to tool. All right? That's one of the best ways to be able to look at people and go, okay, so some of them are going to get better, some of them not going to get much better. A good example for us is going to be Cole Wagner here. He's actually a pretty good player. In fact, he's actually a really good 2A player. And if we look at some of his better information, he's going to be interesting because he is definitely going to be... It's going to be tough for us to decide if we keep him in left field as a hitter or if we try him out as a pitcher. He definitely has the makeups to be able to start. he definitely could use a little bit more speed on his pitches, but he does have the ability to have some starter caliber stamina and just quantity of pitches. So Cole's going to be an interesting prospect, especially when we set him up to be a left fielder. He's 2 stars. And let's just say we expect him to reach Double-A at least. So that would be what he would look like in Double-A if he's fully developed from what we believe he is going to be by the end of his player development at this point. And that's not bad. That is acceptable for at the least Double-A. And again, that is before you get any more development to the player on top of what our scout believes he already is. And we already believe that his I rating has gone up 5. His power rating has dropped down a little bit, but his speed improved. Very nice. And his contact's gone down. So he has dropped a little bit on some of his abilities, which is going to be interesting to see if that comes back or if we lose that for good. But Cole Wagner is an excellent decision where it's like, okay, now you could look into your situation. If we were looking at it based on relative ratings to MLB, and we look at it just by that, and we have, let's see, where'd he go? He's back here. Now, if he's set up, yeah, so now he's back to 2 stars, so that's good. But if he is set to relief pitcher, which is what he was before, if Wagner is set to relief, he's only a half star, and you might accidentally release him. So you need to be able to take as much time as you can to make sure you don't release somebody who actually is pretty decent, especially someone like a Cole Wagner. And we just drafted him, so he'll be easy for us to know not to release him. But what I always have to do for TJ and my sake is go through a whole bunch of stuff and figure out, okay, why is he rated so low? Is there a better way for us to look at this player? And then if I feel like as if he's not going to get much better, even based off of what would be his best suited position, then I have to go through and figure out how good could he possibly ever become. Because if even in the league he is in, his potential is 3.5 stars, and we're talking about Ariel Serrano here at this point, versus a bunch of his other, teammates who are going to be 4 or 5 stars. So at this point, Serrano's probably on his way out, because 2.5 stars for a rookie level is not going to cut it. The minute that you start having him try to go up the levels of quality in terms of these minor leagues, you hit him at high A and suddenly he's only a 1.5 star starting pitcher. He has low speed, the fly ball pitcher, low movement, and low stuff. So sure, you could always take a high flyer and see if he develops into something a whole lot better. But Cole Wagner is going to be an instant buy, for me at least. A 3.5 star starting pitcher / outfielder, 2-way player, he stays. But there are a lot of people that just don't have any potential on your teams. And learning to find these people and take them off of your rosters is going to be one of the things you have to learn how to do. Otherwise, if you're playing single-player games and you're trying to manage your franchises, this will always bog you down. And you'll start to have problems having people play. Because when you have more than 100 people in your rookie system, not everyone's going to get to play. And the CPU is going to have to decide who plays and who doesn't, or your manager is going to have to decide that. And you'd rather see your best players get chances to play versus having a bunch of people having to sit on the bench all season long. So, for a person like Lynn here, we definitely need to take a look at what he would look like in high A. He's considered half a star. Now, he probably should be, he doesn't have the stamina for a starter. He's really a relief pitcher for life at this point. He had some good seasons back in 2019, 2018. He's actually been quite decent. I think the game has just completely dropped his ratings at this point. Let's see if OSA believes he's any better. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no right off the bat and see what everyone else thinks about that. Because at this point, if you're only going to be given a 3.5-star rating in the minors, that's really not going to be good if that's as best as you can get, even in the rookie system. I mean, you guys can see how many players we have in our rookie system that are definitely better at this point. In fact, one of the best ways to be able to review that is to go straight to your minor leagues. We're going to customize this really fast. And this is one of the things I also do. It's going to be less than 3 stars. And we're going to review this based off of the rookie system. And this is our list. This is what I traditionally will be utilizing to know who I want to get rid of. Yes, the player's development does depend a little bit on how much playtime they get, because the game will take into effect how good their performance has been doing for their, well, not a huge amount, because I have seen some people who have performed poorly but still get increases in their development. So it's not a surefire, no doubt situation where if somebody hits you 350 in a season, they're just going to go up 15 points. Because otherwise, what would happen is people would play all of their best prospects at a level below where they're supposed to be playing to get good statistics. Now, you can do that, and if you have this set up into your system where you incorporate stats into your scouting reports, that will affect your scouting reports slightly to reflect how good they're doing in real life. However, what's more important is going to be these player evaluation settings and whether or not you're taking more out of their current year stats weight, or if you're going more about their overall ratings weight at that point. And that's mostly for how the AI values stuff, but I've also found that that does change some things about how that handles development in some of the reports at least. But the incorporating stats into your scouting reports is a good one to have. That's a good one to be able to have. How much does the new coaching system change everything in players getting better? At the moment, from what I've understood about the new coaching setups, is that every single one of the listed coach involvements, all those the roles the coaches have, this is just in the development of your players being able to quickly gain abilities to play infield, outfield, and being able to, I don't know, it's a little bit vague about, like, teach running. What does that mean? And I know the dev team is already working on, or has been working on, better displayed information about what exactly that handles. But from what I've understood, most of these are just about development and not about increasing potential. From what I've understood, that's what they're for. Now, that doesn't mean they can't increase your potential of your players. I know that happens in the game already. So they may actually take into effect some of these. Because from what I understand, these coach roles do apply to your minors as well as your major league teams. So I do believe you want to have these on as high of a level as you possibly can, but I don't think they are directly tied to how well your players are going to develop teaching catching, teaching infield and outfield, and running. I don't think they are as much of a cheating or not. No, they are not the one and only solution to be able to make your team better and your prospects better. I believe they have a very small effect on that, but they are not the one and done effect to be able to make your players all get speed increases. I don't think that's what they were made for. If that makes sense. I know there's a lot that needs to be done about that, and I know we are, in fact, I do know, Tin Flash, that we are, I believe, scheduled to make a video regarding that. So hopefully we'll have a good amount of more documentation about that as well, very, very shortly here. You worry on your Tigers say that Avila will replace me as manager with Chip Hale. Chip Hale is actually a very good manager. I think he's definitely going to resurge on a lot of people's manager lists. I think he just lost control in his previous job. But I think that, lessons learned are going to be definitely something that he is going to be bringing with him to any future jobs, and I think he's going to do just fine. So I could definitely see that, unfortunately, Lowry. I could definitely see that. Let me see. Oh, he's your third base coach right now. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, indeed. All right, so hold on. I wanted to go back to the minor leagues really fast. So to wrap up what I was trying to explain there is that basically every single so often I have to come through when I play single-player franchises. I have to come through and kind of clear out some of the people who have really not developed well. You're going to have a whole bunch of messes and large amounts of players who just really, really don't need to be on your team anymore. Exactly, Ludwig. If you try to control the minors by yourself, but you're not really hands-on, it can become an absolute mess, and then you end up just letting the AI handle it. And then you're at the mercy of whether or not the AI re-signs one of your minor league contracted players, if they, flat out loud release one of your minor league prospects you were hoping for, and then there's also situations where they don't play your minor league prospect the way you wanted them to. So, for example, we have Califoot. And let's go see Califoot for a second here, guys. Joseph Califoot is in our DSL system. He probably should actually be in our AZL system. But sometimes the AI doesn't actually know how you want a player to be played. And, in our situation, Califoot would be considered a 4-star by rookie level conditions. He's a 4-star starting pitcher, but he's a 5-star first baseman. So this is the guy we believe is a great, absolutely beast of a DH. And this is something where, he's going to be amazing all the way up through. I mean, he's pretty much a AAA caliber player, could probably crack the big leagues if he plays for an American League squad and plays as a DH. And he's if he can get a little bit of development, maybe some more movement, you could actually see Califoot being a starting pitcher as well. His slider, changeup, fastball combination is not bad. And if he gets that extreme fly ball, he's going to have to counteract that extreme fly ball with some really good movement and some velocity increase. But if he can do that, Califoot could easily turn into a two-way player who would be, quantifiably, he would be a different breed than like an Ohtani, who is all about velocity and power. Califoot is all about movement from his slider, changeup, and fastball, and really good eye-in contact. So we'll see what happens with Califoot, but you do need to watch out for situations where the AI is not utilizing one of your minor league players correctly, and if you have to, go in and tell the game, you have to set some profile stuff, you have to set some strategies on these players, so that way they're actually doing a good job. You don't want them to be used in bad situations. Please open the bullpen door, Hal. Oh, good grief. The AI never makes mistakes. No, it never does. No. Oh, no, the AI never makes mistakes. Yeah. Yes, we can all start blinking because the AI is taking over everything. So, basically, what I have to do routinely is come through and just clear out some of the, I hate to call them fodder, but you have to clear out some of the people that are never going to perform well. And sometimes it's actually really hard to find out who you should be getting rid of and who you should not be getting rid of. Because over the course of a franchise, you're going to draft people that you really, really like. And you're going to be very much attached to some of these players. And it's going to be really hard to release them. But you have to do it. You have to be able to, say, all right, I don't think Pat's going to make it to the big leagues, and we have better people that we should be having play, especially at high A ball. So for a person like Pat, we might just decide tonight that he's going to get released. And, you know, TJ's not going to really care that much because he's not a major league caliber player anyways, but this is just one of those people where you need to look at them very, very hard, and you just got to be able to make some tougher decisions about, okay, it was a decent shot. You know, you want to be able to say that everyone gets an opportunity to play, but you can't make that same offer to 200 different minor league players for one team, because you can't have, you can't have more than 25 legitimate starting players and bench players on a team before you've got people not really getting much playing time. So don't overcrowd your minors, because if you do that, you can really get into some really bad situations where you don't get to see any playing time from prospects that you're actually very fond of. Oh, yeah, and you can definitely, Curling Critter, you're correct. You can definitely see some people who are 2020 guys, like the lowest of the lowest, they had no potential at all, and, they add a pitch, they get some velocity, and bada bing, bada boom, they're a 3-star caliber pitcher because they make a couple of tweaks, and then, they get more velocity and a little bit more movement, a little more control, and suddenly they're a 4-star prospect. I've seen a few of those where it's like, this guy came out of nowhere. Who was this guy? And you get like a 20th round pick, suddenly a 4-star caliber prospect in the, AAA system for a team, and you're just like, where on earth did this person come from? I cut anyone in the minors older than 25. Yeah, that's kind of what I do too. No, most of the time, I end up doing a couple different types of filters. And you can see I've already gone through and done a little bit of that because we've released a bunch of people already. But anybody who is not potentially good enough and over a certain age is pretty much always going to get cut in my books. If you're over 25, that's my first starting point. I sometimes go down to 24, 23. It just depends on how bad you are. Like, for example, here's a pretty good prospect if we're looking at it based on the rookie system level, all right? This guy would probably do pretty well if he played his entire career at the rookie system level. Now, the issue is he really should have been a starter because he tried to do 3 pitches, but he doesn't have the stamina to be able to do it. So he's pretty much a full-on bullpen person. And the real problem is just going to be that he's already 23 years old, and if we even tried to throw him eventually in AA, he's only a half-star caliber person who doesn't have the movement or control to be able to really compete in AA. So this is a situation where it's like, now do you let him stay here for another 2 years and see if he develops? Because sure, you can look at his potential and be like, okay, he's gotten a little bit better. His speed has increased a little bit. His control has increased from 35 to 45. He's getting some good development, but he's only had one potential increase. So he's developing his current very, very well, and that's his overall ratings, which we don't display, but you can actually still see here. So that's a little bit suspicious. But you guys can see his potential ratings really haven't changed at all. And this is based on AA. If we go to the rookie system, it's still not that much. You're talking about potential stuff has gone up a little bit. Potential control has gone up a little bit. He's not good enough. And this is the type of caliber player, and we'll go back to the majors rating so you guys can kind of get an idea of just how far off we are. Because when you look at it from the rookie level perspective, he looks decent, and you're like, oh, he'd probably do okay. Then you come to the majors, and he really doesn't have much of a chance. And we already have a very high scouting accuracy on this guy. He really doesn't have much of a chance. And this is someone that we can easily release, and it's not going to be the end of the world for us. Let me see if I can ask your guys' question to us. 35th rounder is now a 50 potential person? Yeah, those are the good ones. Excuse me. How much does not getting playing time negatively affect development? I don't know if it negatively affects development, but from what I understand, it hinders potential development. And the last thing you want to do is have a prospect just age and not get any better, because that's a year you can't get back from them. So the real problem, and that'll actually tie into having overcrowding in your minors, is if a player is a high-tier prospect or even like a middle-tier prospect and they're not getting any playing time, the worst thing that can happen is that they get older and they don't get any better, because then they're just behind somebody else every single year. They're behind your next prospect. They're behind your next superstar. You know, if someone gets drafted that's the same position as they are, suddenly they still can't play. They still can't show them how good they are. And, you know, maybe they get a little bit of development. Maybe they get a little bit because they're practicing on the, practice squad and they're, hitting in the cages. But because they're not getting actual playtime development, and your scout isn't seeing any stats to be able to base some more advanced development reports about that player, most likely than not, it's not that you're going to negatively, kill off a prospect. It's that you're not going to get any chance at all to have a prospect come out of nowhere if they don't get any playing time. So the first thing you always really want to do is get your teams set up with the amount of players, not the exact amount of players you need to play. Have some extras in case there's injuries, but you need to be able to especially let your draft picks play immediately, because those are supposed to be exactly what you want to have starting as quickly as possible, especially for people who are doing rebuilds. So if you started a 2022 sim and you're like the Pirates and you're drafting Rocker right off the bat. In fact, this is gonna be one of the things that we're gonna love to see, is where do the Pirates, once they finally sign Rocker, who they have not signed yet. So the minute that Rocker gets signed, what level do they put him at is going to be the question of the year. Because I could see them putting Rocker immediately into single A, A+, or even double A, and just skipping the rookie system. Because you don't want to give a development prospect like Rocker, you don't want to give him, a chance to not get any playing time or get limited playing time. He needs all the playing time he can get, so that way he develops. Now, you don't want to put him at a level that's too high for him, otherwise his statistics are going to look bad. And that can potentially be, a situation where he's just constantly being overpowered at his level. It's not a good sign. Now, that doesn't mean he's not going to develop, but it might mean that he develops slower. So you don't want to rush them, but you also want to give them challenging situations. So that's why I almost always put any of my top tier prospects up to spring training. I have them play for like the first 2 weeks straight. And then I go with my major players who are going to be starting. Because I want to give my spring training, first couple of weeks of spring training needs to go to my top prospects. I need to be able to see if they're actually developing well and if they handle, semi-major league caliber players with any kind of skill. Yeah, our scout doesn't like Rocker. I don't know why. I'm not entirely sure why we don't like Rocker. He definitely has gotten better, although his stuff went down. His current movement and stuff has gone down, and his potential movement's gone down, so that's not good. That's interesting. Let's see. What are the questions so far? I want to read you Mariano Rivera's career and see how he turns out as a starting pitcher. The problem with Mariano is that he could never find that third pitch. That's literally Mariano's problem, was that he could never get that third pitch around. From what I remember about his book, at least. I read his book. It was really good. And I can't remember if that was the problem or if it was his stamina. But one of those two issues was just he could never get past what a starting pitcher really needed to have to dominate. And, when he was able to condense his attempts to just one inning as a relief pitcher, it clicked. And that cutter he was trying to develop was so much better in a one-inning situation versus attempting to go 6 or more. I might keep some pitchers as organization guys for minor league depth. That's always a good idea to have. It's always a good idea to kind of have at least 2 or 3 players who are like backups to the league, either above them or behind them, just in case people get injured. If you have a large roster at the lower levels, often it means a stud sits at the lower levels. Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to have a stud sitting on the bench in the minor leagues. That is the worst feeling in the world when, we have AJ Andrews Jr. and Josh Pearson in our rookie system. So let's see what the AI is trying to do with our lineups really fast. So they see Pearson playing left, Andrews playing center, and Guzman playing right, which means, Nick McLean is not playing. And that's a huge no-no in my books. Nick McLean was our 6th round draft pick. He's batting .400. Nick McLean should be playing. So this is a perfect example where we need to have Nick McLean playing, period. So this is where, like, a minor league contract of Guzman, he's probably never going to, he's not that bad, actually. He's 5 stars. Let's see. But Nick McLean's pretty good. Let's take a look at AAA really fast. 3.5 stars for McLean. And we had Guzman at 3.5 stars as well. But that's a good example right there where you kind of want to utilize the ratings based on certain situations. Because at this point, I would take McLean. Even though they're very close. They're actually very close, which is actually a good sign. That means we're not exactly wasting McLean. That's good. Guzman's pretty good too. But we just drafted McLean. He's got the better ability to play right. Well, a little bit better airs. I prefer that. But they are very closely similar. Very closely similar together, and that's a good sign. That means we've done a good job of developing our minor league system. So that is an okay problem to have. But Matthew's not playing either. Like, Matthew and Nick are both bench players because Pearson is trying to play. Andrews is trying to play. Ooh. I'm not sure I like Andrews having to play center. That might be where Pearson has to play center. You kind of have to make a decision at that point. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Let me catch up on chat here for a second before we continue going. Rocker and Lighter didn't look that good in my draft. I know that the prospects for 22, for OOTP 22, they are not taking into effect all of the hype. We look at their past statistics alone. So all the stuff that's happening right now, where Lighter and Rocker are both competing for, like, who can shut out the opposing college teams the most, that's not being taken into effect for the draft. So that is where I would say, if you want to go into your draft and edit those players personally yourselves, be my guest. Because, yes, they're going to be so much better than what we have right now. You went back and made Bobby Witt Sr. a closer? Oh my gosh. So that would be his, that's the prospect kid's father, I believe, right? I like the prospects of Bobby Witt Jr. personally. I think he's an elite prospect. I think he's going to be very, very good, and we'll see how good he can become for the Royals. He'd be one of the people that I'd like to get if I could. If I could, I'd get him in a heartbeat. Questions. Here you go. Is it bad to force start prospects though? No, as long as you're starting them in the league that they're supposed to be playing in, it is not a bad thing to force start them. Most of the time, people won't have them getting starts because of the fact that the AI believes somebody is better than they are, and that's not always the case. That's the hardest thing to get through, is that sometimes the AI is not exactly, not the smartest, not the sharpest tool in the shed, I'd say. sometimes you gotta take the AI's suggestions with a grain of salt. Because, you know, like you got situations where it believes Guzman is better than McLean and Matthew, and I don't know. It's just it's tough, and it gets compounded upon when you have too many good quality prospects, okay? And that's what we want to get rid of. We want to get away from not so much there's too many good players, but there's too many options for the AI to pick from. So we want to streamline everything. So that way we're not having a whole bunch of people being, basically held back because there's just too many good people ahead of them. That's going to be the answer. So, all of that to say, let's drop some players, shall we? Let's do it. We're going to get rid of some kids live on stream. This is going to make a bunch of these kids in real life very, very proud of us. But we're basically going to go through and kind of figure out who would we drop if we had to make some tough decisions today. So people like, technically, wow. Hold on. Yeah, that kid needs to go back to being a third baseman. Thank you very much. Okay. Here's a good example of someone that we gotta make a bit of a decision about, shall we? So, we're gonna make these decisions live on stream. Yes, poor kids. Poor kids. Yes. Oh, gosh, yeah, that's the worst kind pockets, where it's like, yes, here's the top starting prospect of mine. He's a catcher. Yes, we wanted high expectations. He's just starting DH. He's not catching? Oh, no. He's not going to catch. He's going to DH. Well, then what's the point of him being a catcher? Why did we draft a catcher if he's just going to be a DH? Like, you can get Califoot. Our prospect is Califoot to be able to do DH. But, here's a good example, guys. This is Eduardo Herrera. He is a half-star MLB relative rating prospect. Little bit of catching ability, not the best arm in the world. He's also a two-way player. He is a half-star relief pitcher, and he is only 21 years of age. We're going to getting rid of everyone on the roster. Yes, we're going to get rid of everybody that we don't like. All of the people that make us upset and we have problems with, we're going to be cutting them tonight. Good grief. Sorry, I shouldn't have said it like that. We're going to be releasing them tonight. We're going to be releasing them. Do you take into account personality ratings when dropping players? Yes. If we have them turned on, yes. We do not have personality ratings turned on for this individual save right here. Now, I have to agree with New. New is correct. This guy is not a catcher. He's really not a catcher. So let's take a good, long, hard look at Eduardo here. And, of course, he is part of the AZL team, so he's not even on the DSL where he probably should be. But he's really not that good. Even if we go down to, like, AA South, he's really not going to be starting in AA South. Let's take a look at Low A West. Okay, that's pretty decent for Low A West, but that's only 1.5 stars. Relief pitcher of 2 stars. So the question really comes down to, would he still be a catcher at anything higher than rookie level? Because right now, what's been done with him so far is he's had 2 starting position games, as I'm assuming at catcher, and he's had 10 appearances in relief for our Arizona League system and our DSL system, which is D-backs 1. So I believe this is the situation where he gets cut. He either gets cut or he becomes a full-on pitcher full-time, because he only has the potential to increase his pitching a little bit, and maybe he can develop into that. But he really isn't going to be a catcher. Not without a huge increase in his catching ability, which I don't see happening. And his power is not good enough to overcome the really bad catching ability, and he would have been much better as, like, a second baseman or a center fielder with speed. And he really has a lot of qualities of a second baseman. He even has, like, the height and weight of a second baseman. 5'9", 155 pounds. This guy's skinny. But, I think the only thing we can do about him is tell him to stop being a catcher. And again, we'll take it off of the rookie system so you guys can see what his major league caliber stuff looks like. And you will notice, his pitches don't change. What changes is the stuff rating. So it isn't that, basically, his pitches are always going to be about this way in terms of the quality of these individual pitches. But what's going to change is the stuff, how these pitches compare to the rest of the league that it's being relatively rated against. So you can have really good pitches, but it could be just not enough because your speed, your movement, your control doesn't indicate that you know how to use those really high quality pitches efficiently. So at this point, I say he becomes a relief pitcher. Oh, I love overweight catchers because you know what that means? Overweight catchers like Henry Blanco, those are the best fielding catchers in the world. Somehow, some way, if you have a catcher that's a little bit overweight, most likely than not, they focus solely on either power hitting, power slugging, or their defense. And they are masterful behind the dish type caliber catchers at that point, if they are going to be that way. Now, I mean, that being said, I don't think Prince Fielder would have made a very good catcher. Just going to say that, all right? Now, I mean, Victor Martinez was a catcher for a very long time before he had to eventually move over to first base, so you can still definitely do that. But I've always remembered that catchers, if they are, if they're not going to be Jason Kendall style catchers, they're going to be more focusing on their catching ability because that's what they have to do to be able to play in a league that requires athleticism, a lot of athleticism in youth. You got to be able to counteract that with something else. Now, Astudillo is different. And I hate to say that because he's not a bad catcher. But he focused on his hitting. And so did Gaddis. See, there are two different ways. You can either focus solely on your power or your ability to put the ball in play like Astudillo does. Or you can focus solely on your catching ability. And then you understand that you have to focus on one or the other. It's really hard to be able to focus on everything as a catcher and do everything really gosh darn well. I mean, there are not very many good catchers that do everything well. There just aren't, because there's just way too much that's being asked of catchers to be able to do everything perfectly. There's just not that many real mutos out there, guys. Okay? There's just not a lot of real mutos out there who just everything comes naturally. They can hit really well. They can field really well. They're decent runners. They have pop and they've got good contact. It's hard. It's hard to be able to do that. Oh yeah. I love Astudillo for what he brings to MLB. I think he's fantastic. Too many fake mutos? Oh, good grief. I mean, you've got Yasmani Grandal. But our approach to a good hitting catcher right now is Christian Vazquez. That is considerably... Not Christopher. Where is Christian? Did I spell that wrong? Nope, it's not that. Did I just miss him? Catcher. Where is he? Where is Christian? I must be spelling his last name wrong. Yes, PT mode spoils us a little bit. Am I really spelling it that wrong? Hold on. I think I am. There he is. V-A... Oh, Z-Q-U-E-Z. Oh, good grief. Ugh. Yeah, of course, I spelled it completely wrong right there. But yeah, it's hard to find somebody who has the catching ability, a decent speed ability, and a good hitting ability. So it's really, really hard. It's really, really hard to do all of those correctly. No, it's not a bad thing that you don't play PT. PT is a almost like a slightly abbreviated version of a single-player game. It'll give you a bit of insight into kind of how to get a different perspective on players. And it's good for that kind of stuff. And it ties in really well if you're doing a single-player game, but it can get you a little bit warped on how good of a player you think some of your players are. Like, for example, I look at the improvements to people like Ketel Marte and Pavin Smith and some of these advancements, I'm like, oh, why are my single player people not performing like the people in my PT mode? Why are they not doing this good? Why are they not being as the same caliber as those players? So you got to be careful with PT mode that you don't get it mistaken with single player. Use it as a tool to see another viewpoint on players, but don't use it for your understanding of how every single player should be. Because otherwise, all those future legend cards that you get are going to so distort how well you think a player should be. All right? Exactly, Pockets. All the superstars and all of the really good cards are going to warp your expectations a little bit. And suddenly, what you thought was a future legend who should have turned into this kind of caliber of a player totally misses that mark, and you're going to be a little bit upset. So you got to be careful with that. All right, we are wasting all the time in the world, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. So we've changed a couple people's positions, and that's good. Let's take a look at some more stuff before we start making some decisions about these players. Now, you will notice that there are a lot of relief pitchers. There are a lot of relief pitchers that we would consider to be not that good. And let's just go ahead and get started. We're going to release Pat right off the bat. Because I've got better. I've got better people than him. So he's our first person to go at this point. Excuse me. Let's take a look around and see what else of these people we'd like to be looking at getting rid of as well. Just to clean a little bit of our minor league system. And then we're going to start to take the rest of our time. So we'll try to do this quickly here. To get our minor league system ready to go for more simulations. Because we want to kind of get our minors to a point where they can sim for the rest of the season with the players they're supposed to have and in the positions and farm system levels they're supposed to have. Alright? I'm kind of going another hour. Hero's here for this. Hero's totally here for this. Oh, good grief. Yes, I can totally agree with you on there. Have you tried buying more packs? I thought that there was a buy button up here someplace where we could, buy some more prospects, but, unfortunately, Slybar, that doesn't work. I don't know why, but they took away the buy packs and buy stuff button. So, unfortunately, I'm kind of stuck with these guys at this point. So, hey, it's just how it goes. Turn it off and turn it back on again. Hey, don't be throwing my job in my face like that. That's not nice. It's not nice. See if I give you tech support the next time you need it. I'm just kidding. Oh, good grief. Good. I mean, that's my job. My job is to make you guys smarter about OOTP and understand the game better. So if that's what you guys are getting from this, then that's good. Because, an hour and 40 minutes of me monologuing about different stuff can be kind of dry. A little bit dry, let's just say. All right, let's finish this up, guys. So, let's think about who we want to get rid of at this point. We're looking at this based on, of course, our scouts' abilities. Looking at their potential abilities. And let's go ahead and make this a little bit more customized. Let's go down to 1.5 and 1 star players. So like Pope. So we're going to look at this based on a higher level than the rookie system. Because at the end of the day, we need to be able to look at people and see if they actually have any potential whatsoever. We need to know if we brought them all up to to high A ball, let's just make high A our example. Would they thrive or would they completely fall apart? And also, on top of that, people like Austin here are a great example of maybe the AI is playing them wrong. And then you gotta figure out why they're playing them wrong, and is there anything you can do about that? You know? So, for example, Pope is actually a pretty decent starting pitcher. I'm not going to say decent, actually. He's an interesting starting pitcher. So, here's the problem. Sometimes the AI doesn't have enough starting pitching slots available to be able to actually have someone listed for what they're supposed to be going for. So now we could have just released him right off the bat because he was a half-star prospect. You know, looking at his abilities, he's a half-star prospect if you try to make him a relief pitcher. But if he's a starter, he's got some very good 3-pitch pitching, starting pitching abilities. Now, here's the problem with this. Do you know how many people we can tell the game is going to be a starting pitcher and they would have this kind of caliber potential, 3-star caliber potential? There are lots of these people. There are lots of these people. There are too many people that we could look at and go, okay, 3 pitches, he's actually a starting pitcher. Ah, he doesn't get any better. Well then. 22 years of age, doesn't have any more control ability. Fly ball pitcher. Oh, because his stamina is low. That's why. My bad. I totally forgot about stamina. So yeah, this is a situation where this guy's not going to really get any better. He would need more stamina. He's going to be a half-star. We release him. And he's on the DSL team, so we got to be careful about how many DSL teams, how many DSL players, my apologies, we get rid of. 2 pitches, half-star caliber person would need a 3rd pitch to be a starting pitcher. If he had a 3rd pitch, it actually would be a good job to develop. So this is a situation where I'm actually okay with keeping him and seeing if an 18-year-old can get some more velocity and a 3rd pitch. If he gets a 3rd pitch and some velocity, he's actually pretty good. So Darwin Almonte stays, just barely stays. And we'll take a look at this real fast and see, and that's a 2-star potential person about there. So that's a pretty decent example about, where we might keep somebody versus dropping someone because they aren't quite what we're looking for. And that stamina's got to go up too, though. Hopefully he can get that stamina up. I'm going to bring this back up to 2.5 stars real fast. We're going to look at the... We're going to look at people via the A level quality. So this is somebody right here that might not make it. Darling, the nickname of Darling? Sure. We can do that. Let me see. Where was he? That's Denyi. Almonte. There you are. Done. So that's a good example of someone right there. Excuse me. Oh, man. If this guy had some more stamina, that's a decent pitcher right about there. For A-ball, of course. Again, these are all people. And that's the one thing we have to keep in mind, guys. We're going to look at these people depending upon, a different relative rating system. But they're all half-star players, okay? These are all half-star people who are probably never going to make it to the big leagues. So we don't have to, blind ourselves or, overhype this because of the fact that, they look good when we look at them with the lower relative ratings. This is just our way of seeing if they actually would perform well at the lowest levels of the minors. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. This is not what they would look like in the big leagues. Otherwise, we'd have tons of good prospects. Like, he'd be pretty good. Michel Gilbert. Let's see what he would look like as a starting pitcher. There we go. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for people like this, where the AI is like, there's no more roster spots for a starting pitcher like you. We're going to put you into the bullpen. Boom. Suddenly they're only, a half-star rated person. You make them a starting pitcher, they're 2 stars. That's actually okay at that point. He's okay for us to keep, and we'll keep him that way. Now, the problem is that we probably don't have a place for him to try starting as a starting pitcher. There's probably no team that's ready to have him try out as a starting pitcher. And that's going to take away our opportunity to try him out and see if he can develop. He's 24 years old, though. So it's probably another year, and then we're going to release him if he doesn't get any better, if he really doesn't get any better at all. Now, I mean, that being said, he's gone up to 2-star potential, so not too bad. His current and potential control ratings have improved, so that's not bad. But it's tough. It's tough to be able to really give this guy much more than another year of time. I think one more year is pretty much it. That's all we're going to get from him, and then I don't really feel like as if he's going to be given any more time after that. So I'd love to see him start in like the DSL system. I'd love to see him start in one of those two teams. I think that's his best opportunity. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to see him, try to start in the minors at this point. And did I get everyone up to a different level? Yeah, there we go. Try that instead. There we go. So yeah, it's going to be tough for some of these people who really should be starters or just don't have a third pitch. So for like Darling, we'll take him. We'll keep him for now. Hamilton Andahar, 21 years old, really isn't going to develop another pitch or the speed he probably needs. So this is a situation where we probably will be releasing him right here. This is probably someone we can release and not have too much of a problem with. Fly ball pitcher, not quite that good. Very split difference. Yeah, we can release. So we will release him. Another person off our system. Eric Basabe. 3 pitches, doesn't quite have the stamina. If he had the stamina, he's 3.5-star caliber. Now, has he been getting some stamina at all? Or has he been, let's see, control, movement, potential ratings dropped down. Wow, he had gone all the way up to 3.5 stars? No, he had gone up to 1.5 stars as a starting pitcher when he was attempting to be used as a starter. But his stamina is just not enough. He's got the fastball, slider, changeup combination. That changeup would have to develop a ton. And he's only 18 years of age, so we'll probably keep him and try him out and see if he actually performs well. And if he doesn't, he's probably off the hook in a couple of years. Victor Besora, another relief pitching prospect at this point in our DSL2 team, 2-star caliber player, 2.5 if you look at him by the DSL system. By even AAA standards, he's not that good. So this is another situation where it's going to be a tough call because he'd be fine for a couple more years, but he's already, he's only 19, so he's got some chance to be able to develop a little bit more speed on that system. He actually could be a pretty decent relief pitcher if he can get some of the control and movement up even a little bit higher, and if he can get his stuff rating up a little bit. That would actually be pretty good. And his movement and control just went down. So he's already increased his speed. So that's not bad. He'd have to get that back, though. Well, not back. He'd have to get the movement and control back. And that's potential. Yeah. So that's tough. That's gonna be hard to justify keeping him. Not too bad on the hitting for a rookie system player. Let's take a look at him via high A level. What would he be high A? Yeah, that's probably not gonna fly, unfortunately. That is probably not going to do a good enough of a performance for even high A at that point. What kind of pitchers are we trying to build through our system? To be completely honest, we aren't having any kind of a particular type of build that we're trying to do. A lot of our current situation is getting good relationships and development, but not specific types of development. I know that our coaching staff are all wide-ranging, but we're really not trying to focus on one thing over another at the moment. Let me go back to the Arizona League system so I can get rid of some of these people who are too good. All right, so here's a good example of someone we can probably get rid of. He doesn't have the stamina for it. He does have the 3 pitches, but that changeup is probably never going to develop. Maybe you can trade 100 of these one-star guys for Mike Trout. I don't know. I think that's a bit of a long stretch. Maybe 200 and we can do that. 200 and I think we have a deal. Foon Mayor. Not a bad one right here. Good stuff, movement control, decent sinker-slider combination. That movement will help bonus up with the sinker-slider at this point. 22, so he's pretty much... he might have another year or two of development left in him to be able to get a little bit more speed, maybe a little bit more movement or control. He's had some good results in the rookie system so far, so we'll keep Liu at this point. And he's left-handed too, so that's a good double combination. De Jesus should have been a starter, doesn't have the stamina for it. Gonna be tough to be able to really do a good job of him. I'm going to keep him, though, because he's 23 left-handed, and he's got some really good movement. That control, though, is going to be a problem at high A. Oof. I'm going to actually do a scouting report on him. We'll call him good for now. Oops, and of course I changed that. Take you back down. Denson Hole. Okay, this is a starter right here. Okay. 3-star starter for the rookie system. He's 24 years of age, left-handed starter. He's probably not going to get any more time to start this season. I don't think he's worth it. He doesn't throw fast enough. He's not going to get any more speed. He doesn't quite have the controller movement to be able to get very far in our system. If we go even to like a high A West situation, he's a 2-star starting pitcher. I've got 2-star starting pitchers that I can throw out there. Not a problem. So, unfortunately, Hole is probably going to be released. Is this one of the guys we signed? No, he was a draft pick back in 2019. 28th round, 2019 draft. I think we're going to go ahead and release him, and it's not really going to do anything for us. He's just taking up space for us at this point. I love his abilities. I think he could be a good player for a different team, but we have better quality players right now. Go back to that so I can see other people. Francis. Another person. Oh, extreme fly ball. That's a no. That's going to be a no. That movement and extreme fly ball, he's actually done surprisingly well for an extreme fly ball, low miles per hour, high control, but low movement type pitcher at this point. You go to high A, and yeah, he's not going to get even close to high A. He's a rookie ball player for life pretty much at this point. He's part of our DSL team too. That's not a good sign. We're going to see a lot of DSL players. Unfortunately, that's kind of the style that we're going to be seeing. All right. Not too many more. I don't think we have to do too many more. I'd like to see about, yeah, at least Isia here. Oh, man. Yeah, that's rough. That's a tough one right there. I'm leaning towards not going to keep because of the fact that he's not going to be able to turn into a starter. He doesn't have the stamina or the third pitch for it. Would definitely need to get some more speed if he's going to do a fastball curveball. 2-pitch combination as a relief pitcher. Not bad to be 1.5 stars for A ball. That's not too bad. That means he would probably reach A level ball before he would end up probably retiring. But I'm looking at 3 years down the road. He's still in low A or rookie ball system, eating up innings. And because he's on our Arizona team, I'm going to release him as well. Because he's just not quite there. He's just not where I'd like to see him be right now. Victor, we have the wrong face gen for this Victor Martinez player, unfortunately. Oh man, if he had stamina, he would be a decent starting pitcher. But he really doesn't have the stamina to be able to be a starting pitcher. Otherwise, that would be his calling right about there. Low A West is 1.5 star. High A is going to be 0.5 star. Another situation where a 22-year-old left-handed throwing player on our DSL2 team, probably not going to get rid of him because he's probably going to do just fine on our DSL team for right now. He's probably a long relief pitcher is what he's doing right now. This guy's perfectly fine, actually. He has a lot to develop to be able to stay in a competitive environment. But he's only 20 years of age, and he's got the height to be able to get some good velocity, so he can probably get that up a little bit higher. Did you see the face gen for 20-year-old Terry Francona? Oh my gosh, no, I did not. Is it the old? Is it still the old Terry Francona face gen for a 20-year-old version of himself? I could see that being the case. Let me add something onto our list here really fast. I'm gonna add on pitches. Because there's only a couple different people that need to be reviewed. Ooh, this guy's good. Hold on. There you go. You're staying. De Jesus doesn't have the stamina, but I do like his abilities. He's in the Arizona League. I'll see how he does. Probably end of the season, we'll get rid of him. Lynn, he just, man, I don't know about Lynn. 25 years of age, should be in like a rookie system. Oh, yes, please do send that my way. I'd love to be able to see that. Oh, man. Yeah, Moran shouldn't be here. Even though he's been getting some decent playing time, I'm more likely to get rid of him at this point. And I'll need to review how many people we have. Stamina. So, Pena. Oh, okay. So here's a situation where a person doesn't have the third pitch. He's not going to be a good enough starter, and if we change him to a relief pitcher, he's still not going to be good enough for a relief pitcher, so he's probably someone we can just, skedaddle from at this point. All right. So we've done some little bits and stuff. I've already done a lot in the past, so we're already in a really good position where I'm just going to have the CPU do it really fast for right now. Change this to probably say West for right now. And we'll just review some stuff. So 29, 30, 52 players. That's actually comfortable for me. A lot of people still on this list that I think are not supposed to be here. I know Wagner. Yeah, he still needs to be set to a probably a left fielder for right now, and that'll be just fine for him. But yeah, you got some two-way players that probably still need some stuff. I know Pope should be a starting pitcher. So again, that's just in the situation where, if you get him to a starting pitcher situation, he'd be better and he actually would compete pretty decently in the rookie system. He's pretty close to what should be a starter. But you have so many starters already in your rookie system, and all the way up through AAA that you really want to make sure that you have the most amount of starters as possible. So you're being able to have all those rookies getting as many starting positions as possible. Because you want to give all your starters just, all the time in the world to develop. You got people here like Justin Vernia. If we make Justin Vernia go back to being a starting pitcher, he's a 1.5 star. So he's a much better starting pitcher than he'll ever be a relief pitcher. I think Arredondo is the same way. Yeah, both of these guys were supposed to be starters for their careers, and that makes that list look a whole lot better. But you only have so many starting positions for your starting pitching rotation, okay? So making sure that you're not flooding those is a great way to be able to make sure you're not preventing people from getting potential playing time. That one's just fine. He's actually perfectly fine as it is. Ooh, Valdez is probably another one right here, too. Yeah, 1.5 star. Not the greatest, but still, Valdez could be a decent enough person that you could feel he would be deserving of a starting situation at that point. 6-man rotations, that was actually something that I changed for all of our teams. I made sure that all of our teams use 6-man rotations outside of the major league organization. And I do feel like as if a lot of the minor league teams actually do that, where they'll have a pseudo 6th starter, or just a crew of starting pitchers that they pull from, depending upon who is ready to go and who hasn't started in a long time. So yes, I totally agree. 6-man rotations are fantastic. I feel like as if that's one of the best ways to be able to get the most out of your starting pitching squads. Allow yourself to have more than just a couple of starting pitchers. And this ball club really could use a couple more pitchers, right? They only have, they got 7 relievers, 6 starters. It's not too bad. That's not too bad. 16 hitters, though, is a lot. Trey Holmes out here. Let's see. Yeah, he might be someone that we look at getting rid of by the end of the season. We'll see about that. But, as I try to wrap up a 2-hour, very wild stream, which is usual for me, unfortunately, basically, what we've tried to do in the past 2 hours, and just kind of show off a little bit about, is that you're going to want to make sure that your minor leagues get the love and attention that they deserve. If you leave them to be or let the AI go at them, sometimes you will find that the AI doesn't exactly play the players the way you want them to be played. For example, Wagner. Wagner's been probably hasn't been getting the exact playing time and playability that we've been wanting him to get. He's had 6 games as a left fielder where he really is supposed to be 5 games as a relief pitcher. He should be doing both, but I'd prefer Wagner to be getting playing time as a hitter. So all that to say, guys, for our minor league systems, we have taken a much more hands-on approach trying to make sure that players we want to get playing time are being played. And they're getting the playing time that they deserve and they need. So hopefully you guys can take some of the information that I've been rambling on and on about tonight and be able to apply those to some of your individual games and be able to tackle a really, really hard and challenging situation, which is your minor leagues. Don't be afraid to cut people. Don't be afraid to cut people. Make sure that you get the people exactly where you want them to be and make sure they get the playing time that they need to be able to not only demonstrate to you that they are good as a prospect, but also to make sure that, you're not having a drafted player never get the playing time and the development that they need, and you waste a really good potential player just because you're not on top of your minors. So I hope you guys learned a lot. I hope you guys all got your drops as well. We are at 2 hours. I think that's a good stopping point. My throat's going, my voice is going out too at this point. So take a whack at your minors. If you're doing single player games, take a whack at your minors. Take control. Try it out. See if you guys can get some better development from them. And you never know. You might just get some really good diamonds in the rough out of your guys' minor league systems. So, hope you guys enjoyed that. We should have our streams, as usual, for the rest of the week. Suggest this Saturday. What's the schedule for the rest of the week? So, yeah, the rest of the week should be, as always, our Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and Saturday streams, as far as I am aware, are still on track. So, thank you guys for watching. TJ and I will be returning next Tuesday. TJ should be back on Monday. We will update you guys if anything changes about that. And we'll be doing more continued simulations of our Diamondbacks franchise here for Desert Dreaming next Tuesday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your nights.